Independent thought, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
State your name.
I state your name, to hereby pledge allegiance to the frat.
And what kind of name is just Delta? You sound like a frat that never finished naming itself because everyone passed out from chugging boxed wine.
And you'll never be as big as the original COVID. The OG COVID got Tom Hanks, Dave Chappelle, Ellen DeGeneres. And you'll be lucky if you get to go on tour with Ted Nugent.
Hey Delta, you're the worst spinoff I've ever seen. And I've seen every episode of Joey.
You're not even a unique virus. You're just a variant. You're like the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith. Delta variant? More like Spirit Airlines variant.
Seriously, you can be defeated with just 2 shots? You're like 7 shots weaker than 50 Cent.
You probably like to get named Delta because your real name is B.1.617.2. What a loser-ass name.
Well, what's my Delta Tau Chi name?
Dorfman, from now on, your name is Flounder.
I love it. Delta, baby, Delta's here. And because it's here, you must mask up. There is nothing else for you to do, but you must mask yourself up. People are pushing back on it. Kevin McCarthy.
But it's just like their philosophy. They want to mandate, they want to impose. They want to tell you when you can go to school, when you can eat. You know what they're going to do? If you walk into this building without a mask, they're going to charge you $500. Why? Because they got the power to do it.
Because they got the power to do it. They got the power of the gavel. They got the power to charge you things that you, my friends, you better watch out. We're talking about this again. Mandatory vaccines are going in everywhere. Google, if you work at the offices, mandatory vaccines. Facebook, Netflix.
If you're shooting a Netflix TV show or movie in the U.S., you better be vaccinated. Netflix becoming the first studio to require COVID-19 vaccines for all actors and crew who come into close contact with actors for all productions filming in the United States. The move in sync with guidelines approved last week by studios and Hollywood unions. Netflix, the first to enact the mandate, as a way to hopefully avoid costly shutdowns that come from positive COVID-19 tests on set.
Think about that. It's not even just at the office now. So if you work for Netflix and you're shooting a film outside of religious reasons, allergies, or reasons such as you're 8 and you're doing a TV show for them, you're going to have to get a vaccine. That's where we are. Mandatory vaccines are coming in. People get on me and say, Chad, it shouldn't be mandatory. It shouldn't be. What should be mandatory is you give me the information that's real, and I will make my decisions based on that. Now, as a sound-minded individual, as I tend to try to be, I'm made a decision to get myself vaccinated. My kids are ready. They'll get vaccinated. Not old enough. You make that decision. It's for my neighbors, for my friends, my wife's family. Father-in-law. He's really, 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 really at a position where he could get sick and die, even though he's been vaccinated and stuff. My son, his aunt, who's like one of his best friends in the world, she had a double lung transplant. There are things where you have to be careful about. But let's be real about stuff. This is a political battle more than anything else. Are they worried about the health of the people? Yes. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Politicians do care about that because I think inherently they don't want to lose votes. Not that they're human or they have emotions like this. They want to lose votes. And right now the Republicans are like, you guys got to get vaccinated. We can't afford to lose any of you anymore. What happens if you guys are, oh, God. You make the decision that's right for you. What happened last year was different. Something had showed up. We didn't know what it was. Then once local governments got involved and then the power started to come to some of these agencies, as we all know, they love power. And all of a sudden, what happens? Frustration for a lot of people out there. Keep going back to the article, I believe it's in The Atlantic, talking about the hardest thing to unwind in all of this is going to be the power from the local agencies. That's what you feel like. Is it coming back again? Is the power coming back again? Are they start overstepping? California's in a situation where they're seeing rising cases. They don't know what to do. We're going to talk to our buddy Jim Kennedy later on today about the recall effort and the frustration of people there who thought, well, maybe we'll get back to it. And all of a sudden, here comes stuff that's starting to rise again. And they're making decisions not based on science anymore, not based on their science or what they think is best because they're overreaching. They're making it all now even more so politically. Because what does somebody like Gavin Newsom do? He's in the middle of a recall effort and he's sitting around going, oh, my God. My kids were just photographed at a place where they weren't wearing masks. So I've got to pull them out of this high-end thing. Top of that, I had this happen last year where I was at places where I didn't have a mask on and telling everybody else they have the mask on when they're indoors. On top of all of that, this recall effort is gaining steam because I overreached and, oh my God, it could get worse again. But I can't have people go back in and I can't have people do certain things again because in doing that, it may put my political future in jeopardy. That's the frustration. At the end of the day, it's not about your safety or your health or your well-being. I think for most people, you guys realize it's about politics. Now, will you need a booster? That's a good question.
Would you get a third? I mean, should people get a third shot?
I'm not running out and getting a third shot right now because, as we've been saying, the vaccines work really well. If you start to see that the vaccine effectiveness is truly waning, maybe, as you said, maybe there's some evidence, but, people who get the vaccine do not get severely ill. 2 to 3% perhaps. You have really good protection. I don't know that boosting up, 5-fold or 10-fold the antibodies against something that already works really well makes a big difference.
Yeah, Dr. Gupta. So yesterday, Israel announced that they're going to advise people to get a booster. Pfizer keeps pushing for that. Then you have to think about the people for me, right? I've had it and I've had the shots. What's my immunity like? Because everybody's like, it only may last 6 months, or it may last a year, it may last 3 months, it may disappear. People go get they've had it, but then they go get the antibodies test and it doesn't really show anything. But hold on a second.
But at some point, if it's clear that the immunity is waning, then sure, that might be an option. I will point out that people who got natural immunity from SARS, I'm talking back in 2003, Anderson, you fast forward to 2020, 17 years later, and they still had evidence of immunity. So immunity can last a long time.
Yeah, it can. This is fluid, as we all know, but it's frustrating because we're back talking about masks. We're back talking about what could happen to the economy. We're back talking about, the local governments doing something, and now they're making they weren't making scientific decisions last year at times, even earlier this year. They're making non-scientific decisions now based on politics. Once it was power, now it's politics, and for all of us, it's frustration. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Got a lot of stuff to get to. We're going to squish it all in today. Gender insanity. We always like it. Found a new product we're going to talk about as well. Olympics. Huge news. We will talk about that as well. Just because we didn't win the team event doesn't mean we haven't won something else. And could somebody who stepped in for Simone Biles be the next it thing? We shall discuss that as well. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. I love this story right here. Imagine this, right? You buy a lotto ticket or lottery ticket. A German woman did. Put it in her purse. Forgot about it for weeks. Almost 2 months. Looks in, pulls it out. $40 million winner. $40 million winner. Not bad. She paid €120, so probably about $150. She says she's going to lead a healthier life, do more for the environment. Not bad. $40 million. She says, I get dizzy. Sonst talk like this. I still get dizzy. It's a thought that I carelessly carried almost 33 million euros around in my purse for several weeks. I could have thrown it away, but I didn't. And now I'm richer than you. So, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Love it. Give it to my dogs every night, sprinkle it on top of their foods. So it's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, omega-3, 6, 9, digestive enzymes, all this stuff. But depending on the size of your dog, right? So like we have little dogs. Like you put them together, they weigh like a pound. And I have big lizards, little dogs. That's my world. Don't know how it happened. Kids like it that way. Sprinkle it on top of the dog's food, just a teaspoon. They love the taste of it, but it brings their dog's food to life, which is amazing. And it helps. I think the thing that's most important, especially as dogs get older, the digestive side, but also the joint pain. And my dogs don't have joint pains. My puppies, they're totally fine, but their coats are amazing. And my older dog, his coat's better than it's ever been because when we got him, he looked a little bit of a hot mess. Why we adopt him, I don't know, because looking back on it, it looked like he got hit by lightning. And he's in a better position than he's ever been. Try Rough Greens. It's Canine VitaSmart. They're not going to charge you anything outside of shipping. You pay for the shipping. They're going to get it to you for free. That's it. It's amazing. It's incredible. I think you guys are going to see, if you love your animals like I love mine, the difference. And it only takes a week or two to really start to see that. RUFFgreens.com/Chad, roughgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The pomp, the circumstance, the wonder.
The Olympics. I read yesterday, NBC is just has no idea even what to do. The amount of money they're losing is ungodly. I was talking yesterday to Jim Ryan, who works with ABC News, and he comes on with our local show. And I don't know if you knew this, Phil. When they went there, they had to download a special app on their phone so the Olympic authorities could monitor them everywhere they went. Creepy. I said, Jim, if this was China and you were there for the Beijing Olympics, how would you feel? He goes, I wouldn't do it. I said, okay, there you go. He goes, so if you go anywhere, they monitor you. And he goes, part of that is because obviously if you get sick, they want to be able to go back to these places. But he goes, by and large, he goes, you're completely captured inside of this thing. The one thing they're allowing some of the people to do now, because they realize the look on TV is awful, is they're allowing some fans in certain areas and outdoor venues, but they're also really asking a lot of the, he said, the journalist, hey, if you're not working, we'd really encourage you, because you've been tested and stuff, go see some of the events. Go make it feel like there's things, like basically go be a seat filler. But we do have breaking news. We do have breaking news. We do have it. The youngster who has taken over for Simone Biles, because we know Simone has stepped out. Sinisa Lee has won the overall gold in gymnastics. She's only 18. She's from Minneapolis. Sinisa Lee won the overall goal, and it really gave her the opportunity to jump in when Biles withdrew. Each nation's only allowed to have two athletes compete in the individual gymnastics. Biles came in first. Lee was set to be in the Americans in the finals. Biles withdrew, opened up a spot for another person, but the reality is she is the next and latest and greatest. I think it's 5 in a row we've won. So boom! Boogity boom! Ooh, what do you think of that? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Here's an awkward question yesterday. JaVale McGee on the men's Olympic basketball team for the United States. And, here's Here's a question.
I'm not sure. Is your mom still with us?
My mom alive? Yeah, she's still alive.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's a weird question to ask somebody, but keep going.
Hey, your mom's still alive? Wait, what? It's a weird question. Do you not have like Wikipedia or anything? Well, I wanted to start our conversation out awkward, and I thought, well, let's ask this question. It's a weird question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. How's the economy?
The U.S. economy grew in the second quarter at a rate of 6.5%, a strong pace and a sign the economy is shaking off the worst of the pandemic, but it wasn't as strong as the 8.4% economists had been expecting. And there are concerns the eruption of the Delta variant could curtail growth in the second half of the year. The economy has come far from its collapse in the second quarter of 2020, but parts of it, like the labor market, have struggled. Another 400,000 people filed new claims last week for unemployment benefits.
Yep. Helps a little bit. What will Delta do? I just don't think we're going back in. I don't think we can afford it. And I don't think, not just financially, but mentally, we can afford it. Because you got to remember, too, if they said, all right, we have to go back in. I mean, obviously, if this thing became the Ebola virus, of course we're going to do what's necessary. But at some point in time, we know who's not vaccinated. We know who is vaccinated. The numbers, while they may get higher, they're not going to be as awful as they were the middle of, early part of this year. That stuff's just not going to happen. And going back in is tough because it's hard if you're Biden and everybody to try to pass some of these infrastructure deals talking about trillions upon trillions of dollars in spending if we have to go back in and potentially spend more and more and more money on other things. So I just don't think that's going to happen. And then you talk about the mental side of it. No, not going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Joseph Michael Dusty Hill, bassist, ZZ Top, sing backup. Sad, sad, sad. He played with ZZ Top for over 50 years after his death, which was yesterday. He was going to be replaced by longtime guitar tech Elwood Francis. Interestingly enough, that's who Hill wanted to replace him. They had a guy in mind. ZZ Top, of course, in the Hall of Fame of rock and roll since 2004. He was diagnosed with Hep C back in 2000. He resumed work in 2002. Guy was an interesting cat, for sure. Very interesting. He died in his sleep yesterday. A lot of people passed away last couple of days. So you had the drummer from Slipknot pass away. And then yesterday also, we had the sad news that Ron Popeil had passed away. The great Ron Popeil. He was, and Anthony, I said yesterday, I said he was the internet before the internet. He was Amazon before Amazon.
It's the fishing invention of the century. There's never been anything like it. Popeil's Pocket Fisherman.
Wouldn't it be nice to drink a hot cup of coffee on the way to work each morning? But you can't, because ordinary cups spill. Introducing Auto Cup by Ronco. Always keep your buttoneer handy. And when your button pops off, pop it on with buttoneer. The cookie machine also makes beautiful candy super fast.
Turn of the dial. You can julienne carrots or julienne Swiss cheese for delicious salads.
Yes, it's fishing fun for the whole family, and only $19.95. What a gift.
But wait, there's more. That's what he coined the phrase. And to let you guys know, probably everybody who's listening to this at some time or another had a Ron Popeil invention from Ronco. Now, I had a Mr. Microphone. I wanted that for my birthday because I wanted to be on the radio, and I wanted all of these amazing things, and Ron Popeil was going to deliver for me, and he did. It was awesome. It was awesome. I also wanted a pocket fisherman, and I got it, and it was great. And yes, I did catch a fish. Producer Phil, what'd you say earlier? The egg the egg scrambler? What was that thing?
The inside the eggshell egg scrambler. Don't forget the bedazzler.
Yeah, well, yeah, in the bedazzler, he started it as something else, and then it ended up being the bedazzler. But something else you guys don't know is the Floby was his. The Floby was his. So that's pretty cool. And they have a Floby-like thing inside of the space stations, because obviously they're up there for a long time. So that's hooked up to a vacuum. That was kind of his gig, man. He came up with crazy stuff. He's like, all right, what can I do? It's a pen, but it's also a watch, and it's also a fishing pole, and it's also, and you're like, this is great. The smokeless ashtray. His stuff was great. And he did coin the phrase, but wait, there's more. And his whole marketing thing was keep it under $20. Keep it under $20. So before you had the Mike Lindells and the Billy Mays and the Vince from ShamWow and all these things, Ron Popeil was the dude. He gave me many hours of fun stuff, and that's why when you go to the mall, if you find one anymore, you love to go to, oh, look, it's the As Seen on TV store. So many of those are his. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Gender is interesting, right? Gender is interesting. And we talk about this on the show. We take on things that many others will not take on because we feel the need to do such things because we're not scared. And quite frankly, as independent mind thinkers, we like to say it's okay that you are whatever you think you are. And let's be real. There's a lot of crazy things.
Let's talk about QPO-sexuals and QPO-romantics.
Not real, but let's have fun.
This is one of my most requested micro-labels, so
micro-labels. We have microaggressions, micro-labels.
I know a bunch of y'all gonna relate. QPO means to desire or long for. QPO-sexuals are people who experience little to no sexual attraction, but still have a desire for a sexual relationship. They are usually sex favorable, but not always. Sometimes they simply fancy the idea of a sexual relationship, but don't have the intention of actually pursuing one.
So translation. There are people who usually can't make up their mind, have zero desire for any sexual contact or romanticism, but yet at the same time want to have sex. That's like saying to somebody, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat, but I need to eat, but I won't eat, but I shouldn't eat, but I will overeat, but let's not eat, so maybe I'll do whatever.
The aromantic counterpart is a QPO romantic who experiences little to no romantic attraction, but still has a desire for a romantic relationship or an appreciation for romance. Perhaps they enjoy cuddles and long walks on the beach, but have no idea who the heck they'd like to do that with. I'm sure these identities can be a little confusing and isolating at times, but I know there's more than one of you out there. QPO.
There's probably two. We should hook you guys up. But would that work? Like, what if you don't like each other? It's not very nice, Chad. It's not very nice. It's not. We continue with fun with gender.
I describe myself as agender because internally, when I think of me, I don't associate me with any gender. I am specifically no thank you to gender. But when I think inside and I introspect about what I want from gender, powerful, intimidating, biblically accurate angel. I don't really feel gender euphoria at all. I just don't want it. Gender isn't a part of my identity. Gender is a tool that I use to get what I want.
When I was younger, I don't know about you guys, that would usually be like, it sounds like you're using sex appeal to get what you want, but you don't want to say that. Then that kind of has to feel like that. Like, oh, I'm going to use what I got to get what I want. But I don't want to call it sex appeal. I want to call it something else.
If you're following along and questioning your identity at home, take a second to think about what exactly you want from gender and what part of it gives you euphoria. And like and follow for more gender fuckery from this series this week as we talk about movement and gender presentation and the moment that I started questioning my gender.
I don't even know what any of that means. Do people sit around all day and think about this? They do. Isn't that weird? So, you know, guys, I do a lot of voiceovers, and there's a voiceover site for just progressive voiceover people, right? That's all it is. It's you know, me. I'll voice anything. You guys have no idea all the craziness I voiced. I voice a ton of stuff. You name it, I do it all. I don't really care because I'm an actor, you know, when I'm doing that stuff, and you know, whether it's a promo, I don't think of it anything other than, you know, I don't have to like something, and I'm here to voice it, right? That's kind of my gig. But I went on there, and the way they've broken it out, it was so interesting. It's like, I've never seen, everybody wants to have something special. And that's kind of what this is, right? It's like a superpower. Because people want to feel unique. And for whatever reason, this is it. You know, I'm agendered, 2+, 3 stars, 2, you know, it's weird. But wait, we're not done.
Ace flux. So ace flux is your person. They're going to fluctuate between asexuality and allosexual. So like one day they could be like fully asexual, and then the next it could totally change. He is going to fluctuate on a daily basis. One day they could have crushes on somebody. One day they could be sexually attracted to somebody in some form or degree. And the next day they could be completely just not interested, not wanting anything to do with. I think that's really interesting. That's very cool, and I love learning about these things.
Yeah, that's called hit it and quit it. Am I right, Phil, or am I wrong?
You, sir, are correct.
Thank you very much. But there's more.
Hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a f***ing problem. And if I catch your bitch ass being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were. Thank you for coming, and have a nice day.
There you go. So if you're having issues with this, kids, I want you to understand we have a fix. We found this new product. Speaking of Ron Popeil, he would have probably loved to have been a part of this. So you guys know about Nugenics, right? You know, Nugenics? Well, how about this? New gender. After I reached 40, it wasn't easy to keep up. Everything changed. My energy, my drive, my testosterone levels hit the skids. Then I found New Gender. New Gender is a unique gender-boosting formula powered by Gender Bomb. A patented secret formula guaranteed to boost your gender superpowers in ways you never thought possible. Just pop 2 pills a day and get ready for infinite gender variety. Now you can take on that female Olympic shot putter with the bushy mustache. Or hell, you can even take on your entire girls' volleyball team. With New Gender, you can change your gender every day. Bring on Trans Monday, Butch Tuesday, Pansexual Wednesday, whenever, wherever. Be agender, two-spirit, or just plain old gender fluid. New Gender's for that fresh gender bender feeling you thought you'd left behind in high school.
New Gender side effects including but are not limited to bloating, belching, farting, bitching, catfighting, sashaying, talking to the hand, or in extreme cases, saggy man boobs.
Send your hate to Anthony. Chad Benson Show. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do 100%. I love it. My Pillow has towels. Bet you guys didn't know that. Well, you do now. My Pillow towels, super absorbent, no lotiony feel. And the reason is proprietary technology and the cotton they grow here, right here in America. It is amazing. So it's super absorbent. You get out, you wash, you go and take a shower, jump in the pool, whatever it is. You put it on, and it actually soaks up the water. It's not one of those things that flies off of you, and you're like, I'm still wet. It's not that. It is incredible. Right now, 6-piece towel set, normally $109.99. Yours for $39.99. Each set is 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, washcloth, 2-pack, made from the best. Soft to the touch. Super awesome cotton grown right here in the United States. 6-day money-back guarantee. 1 year limited warranty. So this is how you get it. Go to mypillow.com, use promo code Benson, check out all the amazing products they have, from the Giza Dream Sheets to the My Slippers to the mattress toppers and everything in between. Take advantage of this $40 offer to get these incredible bath towels, 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and a washcloth 2-pack. You will love it. You can call 800-983-4975 or mypillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
He's back.
Was he off your left or right, sir?
Right wing, head out.
Roger. And do you know what altitude?
About 5,000.
Yep. Jetpack Man has made another appearance. If you guys haven't heard about this, I think this is his 4th appearance. And up about 5,000 feet. Not a good situation, especially for planes in busy lanes.
Back in December, a pilot on a training flight capturing video of what appears to be someone wearing a jetpack flying just a few miles from the airport.
We just passed a guy in a jetpack.
Don't hear that every day.
And just a few months earlier, multiple pilots preparing to land reported witnessing the high-flying hazard in the sky.
We just saw the guy pass by us.
A person in a jetpack reported 300 yards south of the LA final at about 3,000 feet.
Jetpack technology has been evolving at supersonic speed.
Yeah, that it has been. But people are questioning, is 5,000 feet, is it there?
Jetpack technology has been evolving at supersonic speed, making appearances at the Statue of Liberty. And the British Royal Navy has been developing and testing a jet suit with Gravity Industries for boarding enemy ships. But experts say zooming through the skies near commercial flights could be a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. 100%. Not only for, jetpack guy could get sucked in if it's a jetpack guy. Because some people are saying they think maybe it's a drone with a dummy on it. But it's hard. And again, it's, when we were out in Palm Springs, we had our business, we had drones that we would film certain stuff with. And you have to go through this thing and you had to get a license because it was when really you took off. And now you have to have certain things to do some of these things. And they can go pretty high and you're not supposed to fly them in certain areas, specifically because of the issues that they can cause airplanes. So who's doing this? Don't know. But it is potentially, like they said, a recipe for disaster. Jetpack guy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Will employers be mandating vaccines? There are going to be issues in the coming weeks. I think we could all realize that. Coming months, we'll see. Again, as the variants... Delta's much easier to catch. The next variant may not be so easy to catch, and eventually, we should have 1 and done or 2 and done shots, and all of these things. But employers are trying to navigate certain things, not only for customers, but also for employees.
Tech giants Google and Facebook are just 2 companies who've announced plans to make vaccines mandatory for all returning workers. Stanford Medicine's Dr. Ryan Rivera calls it a bottom-line decision for businesses.
Employers think in dollars and cents, and lost productivity, potential liability from workplace-acquired infections is not something that they're going to want to deal with. And, strongly promoting vaccination is probably the only way to really avoid that.
The quickly spreading Delta variant leading to more mask mandates being implemented as well. Disney, parent company of ABC, requiring masks indoors on buses and the monorail at theme parks.
Yep. That's happening. Of course, the NFL is going through their battle right now. Cole Beasley has been very outspoken over the last year plus. He is a wideout for the Buffalo Bills. And yesterday, he finally had a chance to talk about his feelings.
I wanted to start this off by saying I'm not anti or pro-vax. I'm pro-choice. The issue at hand is when dealing with a player's health and safety, there should be complete transparency regarding information that is vital in the decision-making process. Information is being withheld from players in order for a player to be swayed in a direction he may not be comfortable with. Without having all the proper information, a player can feel misguided and unsure about a very personal choice.
Yeah. And I think he come across very well. I think his whole thought process, he wants to see this thing. He wants to see how it works. He's taking in all the information. He also feels like some of the NFL side of stuff that he's asked questions about feels like he's not getting answers that he's asking certain questions, not getting the answers he wants. Not even so much wants to hear, but just not answers to the actual questions.
Some people may think that I'm being selfish in making this a me thing. It is all about the young players who don't have a voice and are reaching out to me every day because they're being told if they don't get vaxxed, they'll be cut. Agents are being told by teams if they have unvaccinated guys, they will not be given opportunities as of now to be seen in workouts. So once unvaxxed players get cut, they're losing a dream they have worked their whole lives. Every doctor I've gone to with questions begins every sentence with, "from what we know now," which tells me we don't know enough. For so many players around the NFL, safety does not solely mean avoiding the COVID virus.
Yeah. And he's right about that. Scientists and doctors, from what we know now. Remember, we heard Dr. Gupta say, well, people who still have the, who have immunity to SARS, people who caught it, from what we know now, they still have immunity. It's ever evolving. I get that. Do I think they're safe? Yes, I think they're safe. Protection-wise, how long they'll last, I don't know. In saying all of that, though, I mean, he made a very cogent argument about why he's hesitant. He's not pro. He's not anti. He's pro-choice when it comes to this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
State your name. I state your name. Do hereby pledge allegiance to the frat.
And what kind of name is just Delta? You sound like a frat that never finished naming itself because everyone passed out from chugging boxed wine.
And you'll never be as big as the original COVID. The OG COVID got Tom Hanks, Dave Chappelle, Ellen DeGeneres. And you'll be lucky if you get to go on tour with Ted Nugent.
Hey Delta, you're the worst spin-off I've ever seen. And I've seen every episode of Joey.
You're not even a unique virus. You're just a variant. You're like the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith. Delta variant? More like Spirit Airlines variant.
Seriously, you can be defeated with just 2 shots? You're like 7 shots weaker than 50 Cent.
You probably like to get named Delta because your real name is B.1.617.2. What a loser-ass name.
What's my Delta Tau Chi name?
Dorfman, from now on, your name is Flounder.
Oh, it's not very nice to do that to Delta. Yeah, what kind of Delta is it, man? It's that kind of Delta. It's that Delta virus that's causing all kinds of hell and havoc, causing people to freak out, causing mandatory things in some places. Netflix announced yesterday they're doing stuff. Part of this, I think, is based on the fact they're doing a new show called Gaslight starring Sean Penn. And he said he was not going to work or come back to work with anybody who was not vaccinated. And so Netflix said, all right, everybody in the office, you're going to be vaccinated if you're in the office. Google, everybody in the office. Facebook, everybody. Now, a lot of people work outside of the office, and there's exceptions, religious exemptions, age exemptions, things of that nature. But Netflix then said it's not even just the office.
If you're shooting a Netflix TV show or movie in the U.S., you better be vaccinated. Netflix becoming the first studio to require COVID-19 vaccines for all actors and crew who come into close contact with actors for all productions filming in the United States. The move in sync with guidelines approved last week by studios and Hollywood unions. Netflix, the first to enact the mandate, as a way to hopefully avoid costly shutdowns that come from positive COVID-19 tests on set.
Yep. So they've said they're going to grandfather in some shows that have already been filming. But outside of that, you have to get this done. You're seeing it more and more. Employers are going to be asking it more and more. You're even seeing it from places like restaurants.
An Atlanta restaurant instituted a new rule. If you are not vaccinated, you won't be served. Since instituting the rule, the restaurant has been the target of a number of attacks, including from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. The owner of that restaurant, Argos's, Armando Celentano.
We decided to do this to offer our staff a better quality of life and a safer work environment. As a small business owner, I feel I have the right to offer that, regardless of any Washington politician using their own version of cancel culture to intimidate us and possibly shut us down.
Uh-oh. What does that even mean? Well, it's pretty simple. I think he's talking about certain politicians. And of course, it wouldn't be fun if we didn't talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, "This is called segregation. Will you be testing everyone at the door for the flu, strep throat, stomach bugs, colds, meningitis, AIDS, venereal diseases, Hep A, Hep C, athlete's foot, pink eye, croup, bronchitis, ringworm, scabies, or any other contagions?"
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Really, we're only trying to put our people back to work, hardworking Georgians. Unfortunately, this particular tweet is putting them under unnecessary stress of infection and threat.
Yeah. Tony Roma's, which is amazing, ribs. They've said today, they've come out because now you have the battle of you've got to be vaccinated. You're not going to be vaccinated. You got to be vaccinated. This has to be vaccinated. This is so it's just there's a battle of stuff going on across the board, whether it is in vaccinations, have to be vaccinated, do be vaccinated, don't have to be vaccinated. If you come inside, you can be vaccinated. You can sit outside. You don't have to be vaccinated. Everybody, it's this is where we are. So Huntington Beach restaurant owner Tony Roman has forbid mask wearing in his establishment. This is the battle. There's places, I saw last week there was a gym that said if you've been vaccinated, you're not welcome here. I mean, this is what we're talking. We're back in this. We've turned this in to insanity. We have taken something that we should be fighting against so we can get out of this hell, and we've turned it in to insanity. How frustrating is it? It's too damn frustrating for me. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of just over this thing. At this point, it's like I'm sitting here going, how in God's name can we be in a situation where we're fighting again over the stupidest things? It's simple. We make everything political. And when you make things political, when you bring things into an actual discussion that are real, and then somebody starts to throw politics out there. Remember, politicians, people say, why do people deny science or hate science? You know what it is? It's not. I have a lot of friends who are Christians. They don't deny science. I'm a follower of God. I don't deny science. Science is amazing. Science is incredible. You should follow science. What I don't like is politics hijacking science. And that's what's happened in a lot of ways. Has there been situations where people, I every day people said, Chad, the WHO said this, the CDC, and everybody goes back and forth. Yeah, these things are fluid. This wasn't here 2 years ago. 2 years ago, if I'd have said, hey, something's coming down the pike that is going to be something you've never seen and I've never seen before, and that is going to essentially bring the globe to a halt for about a year, you would have said, shut up. That's where we are. But once politics gets involved, because they love to be involved, all reason and accountability go out, and what comes in is fighting over mask, fighting over you name it. You name it. Hey, you have to be vaccinated to come in here. Why? I'm trying to keep my people safe. I don't like it. You don't like it. But you know what? It's a private business.
And how are you going to enforce this rule, Armando?
The sign does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. I don't have the staff to check every Vax card at the door, and I hope it really never comes to that. What we are asking and being very honest about is we reserve the right to see everyone's vaccine card, especially if they are up moving around our bar and main seating area without a mask. The goal here is to protect staff and our guests from possible COVID infection.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they're doing. Well, they're awful. They're evil. And what about the candlestick maker that doesn't want to make a candlestick for a gay couple? It's like, guys, can we just fight one fight at a time? Why do nations lose wars? Because they have too many fronts. That's what's going on with us right now. We have too many fronts. We've come over here and we've opened up a new front. We've gone over here and we've opened. Just let's focus on this. Let's get through this. Let's get through the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be as bad as some people are thinking, but there's a worrisome there because you have to plan for the worst, but expect the best. We don't do that. We plan for none of it, and we expect the worst. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. All that's going on, and yes, we still have an economy.
The U.S. economy grew in the second quarter at a rate of 6.5%, a strong pace, and a sign the economy is shaking off the worst of the pandemic, but it wasn't as strong as the 8.4% economists had been expecting. And there are concerns the eruption of the Delta variant could curtail growth in the second half of the year. The economy has come far from its collapse in the second quarter of 2020, but parts of it, like the labor market, have struggled. Another 400,000 people filed new claims last week for unemployment benefits.
Yeah. A little bit better, not as great. Moving in the right direction, still going to have issues. And we're still in a situation, too, where we're facing the potential for what could be the great quit. A lot of people are quitting their jobs. And it's not just because they don't want to go back to the office. And it's not just because they think they can get higher pay. I mean, you read a lot of what people are saying about the great quit is I've reevaluated over the last year. I've reevaluated my life. I want to do something different. I want to do something more meaningful. I want to travel. I want to move away from here. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this, and we're going to still need that steady workplace. So for the foreseeable future, it's still an employee's marketplace. So if you're looking for a gig, this is the time to strike. And what have I been saying? Get in early, because when you get in early, you're going to have a better opportunity to lay the groundwork for better stuff for you, from, money to days off, work hours, schedules, and stuff like that, because eventually it will flip, right? Just like the housing market. Right now it's a seller's market, eventually become a buyer's market. Right now it's employees market, soon it'll be an employer's market. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. Absolutely do. Wear them every time I do something. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, right? I mean, I could be working out. I could be doing voice work. None of it matters. I've got my Raycons in because it's one of those things where I'm always doing something. And lately I've been doing so much editing. And I love the fact that I put my Raycons on and boom, I don't have to worry about my ears. I don't have to worry about, are they going to hurt? There's no stems. There's just wires. And the amount of time that I'm able to go without having to recharge them is incredible. But you take something else. They've got the amazing charge time with their case that it comes with. You get up to 4 charges with it. That is awesome. Get your Raycon, save big. They start well under $100, and you get 45-day happiness guarantee. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let us take a peek, find out what's trending on the old internet. Alaska earthquake, they called off the tsunami. Warning 8.2. Shaking. It's trending big time. Yesterday, in our last 24 hours, biggest trending thing. Dusty Hill, ZZ Top. Remember, the bass player with the famed bearded gentleman passed away. Katie Ledecky, she won another gold, 1,500-meter Olympic freestyle. Caleb Dressel on the 100-meter freestyle. Also trending. Top of that, Olympic golf kicks off. Suicide Squad's currently getting the best reviewed DC or Marvel movie ever. 98% on the tomato meter. Is it tomato or tomato? The Dark Knight chimed in at 94. Original 78 Superman 94. Wonder Woman 93. Shazam 90. Dark Knight Rises 87. Superman 2 86. Batman Returns. Birds of Prey. So we'll see how good this one does. It's one of the only DC. I'm not a big fan of DC. I'm not. Marvel just does it better, but this looks way better. Head on over to Twitter. People are arguing. Hashtag COVID's not over. Oh, my God. Tsunami alerts. Again, Alaska, 8.2. They've been canceled. Massive earthquake. Massive. No significant tsunami was expected. But once again, California, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, Alaska, they're all clear now. There are strong, unusual currents that may continue, though, for the next several hours. U.S. Olympics trending. And Sinisa Lee, she may be the new face of the U.S. gymnastics team. She won the gold for the U.S. all around. So good for her. Good for her. Another gold for us. Chalk it up, baby. We got golds coming out our ears. Just want to let you guys know. Speaking of that, actually, it's very interesting. What are medals worth per country? It's a very interesting thing. So it's different in different situations. Right now, the Sepp Straka leads the golf, but it's very interesting because the Korean golfers, people are saying they're playing with the most pressure because if they win a gold medal, they will be exempt from 2 years of mandatory military service. Siwoo Kim and Sung Jae Im represent South Korea this year. Both of them are on the PGA Tour. Both of them do really well. And they have a way out. And you're like, wow, that's a trip. Outside of that, what's it worth in general? Like, what's it? You get money for it? People ask the question. We've got the answers, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the answers. Yes, in some cases you get money for it. Some cases you get a decent amount of money for it. Really depends on where you are. So, for example, you win a gold medal here in the United States, you're going to get $37,000. Canada, they give you about $15,000. This is out of their Olympic pool money. Singapore, $1 million. $1 million. Now, for us, right, so the youngster today who won, that gold medal is worth tens of millions of dollars, not from the Olympic Committee, but from advertisers. You're going to be everywhere. You're going to be splashed everywhere for the coming weeks and months. And potentially, I mean, Simone Biles has made this thing pay off for several years in between. Some people have been able to take advantage of things like that. Others people haven't. You always go back to Mark Spitz. I mean, I just now see him on some commercials. That guy won, 7 gold medals at an Olympic game, and you never heard from him again until recently. So it's worth some, but it's worth a lot more down the road. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show was your Twitter. Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, is going to join us. We're going to talk about the recall in California, How's it work? And is it really as close as some are saying? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Will they, won't they, can they, should they recall Gavin Newsom? And while it's a California story, it really is a nationwide story, especially with all that's going on. They are trying to potentially hold his feet to the fire for what they see was a debacle last year. New York, why they haven't acted in such ways. Many people across the country, politicians, have overreached, underperformed. Joining us now is Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, keeping his pulse on the thumb of all things California. All right, Jim. First of all, you never know. Like, the media seems to portray it a certain way, like this thing is, he's got nothing to worry about. But then you look at the polls, you're like, I don't think so, because I'm looking at the polls, and quite frankly, he should be worried.
Yeah, no, he absolutely should be. And it all depends upon how you look at it. If you look at it between just your registered voters or your likely voters, the registered voter basis, he's up 13 points. On a likely voter basis, he's up 3 points. And what this comes down to, a lot of this is just enthusiasm. Gavin's not necessarily all that popular with the Democrats in the state, which of course dominate the state. There's a 10-point lead for Democrats over Republicans for registered voters. And when it comes down to that, if they can't get the Democrats out to vote, and this is a mail-in election, then it's going to be a tough time for Gavin in the recall.
So how does this work? So it's totally different. First of all, they've already done something a little slimy, right? Which is essentially they moved the voting time up a little bit, which gives less time for people who want to go out and campaign, for the recall. And that's what was it supposed to be? Was it supposed to be in November? Now it's in September?
Well, yeah, the law, it all depends upon how long it was going to take the Secretary of State to move the process forward. And yeah, they could have done it in November, because remember, this is an off year. So there is no regular November election, but they could have had one in November. They have moved it up because they think that the shorter they make the period, the better it's going to be for Gavin Newsom. And the other thing is that Gavin, as bad as he is not going to be listed on the ballot with a D next to his name, which they added after there was a recall election for a state senator. They wanted to make sure they put a D next to the name. They passed a special bill for it, and Gavin didn't file the proper paperwork in time. So he even went out as far as to sue the Secretary of State, his own political appointee, to put him on the ballot with a D. And she said, no, you didn't file the paperwork on time. I'm not giving you a special advantage. You're not going to get it. So no, it's going to be on September 14th. Ballots will go out in about 3 weeks. And it'll be interesting to see. Gavin's got about $35 million raised, and he's been throwing ads up like crazy in California on calling this the Republican insurrectionist recall. And it's an illegal recall, which it's not. It's just him being upset about the fact that he is being recalled.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, really California politics, and the reason simply being looking at the recall and the way this thing has gone. But I think this could reverberate across the country as they look at the way that this thing is going to be handled. California, of course, they recalled Gray Davis and replaced him with Arnold, which didn't go the way that people thought. But with this, so people see, and they see Caitlyn Jenner, and they see, the porn star lady and several other people that are trying to run for governor. The way this works, though, he's the only one on the ballot now, and it's a vote. Either you want him or you don't want him.
Right. It's a two-part question. There's two questions on the ballot. Do you wish to recall Gavin Newsom? Yes or no? And if you select yes, then you pick a candidate. The candidate cannot be Gavin Newsom. He's not allowed to be on the option, so he can't get recalled for himself. You can only be recalled for somebody else. Now, the number of people, when you were talking about the Gray Davis election, I think there are 131 people that are on that ballot. There's only 42 or 44 on the ballot right now because there is a new law they passed called the Trump law, because you now have to file 5 years of personal income tax records to get on the ballot. Because if you remember, famously, Trump's, never did release his income taxes. Of course, California being California, got upset about it and passed a law that says you want to be on the ballot for any election, you've got to release 5 years worth of income taxes. A lot of people didn't pass that or didn't want to submit their taxes. So there's quite a bit less of the number of people on the ballot than there was before. But like I said, it's a two-part election where it's yes or no, and then pick somebody else.
So, and again, Jim, I find this stuff interesting. I was there for the Gray Davis thing. I remember when, Arnold launched it and it was great, and the bus and the whole 9 yards going up and down. Look at me, I'm going to crush. California needs all this stuff. And then, of course, he just sucked. But who right now is it Faulkner is kind of the guy in the lead at this moment in time, that you would think if they say you're out of here, because it can still be a Democrat, right? It just doesn't have to be a Republican. I think a lot of people think it's you get rid of this Democrat and your only choice is Republicans. It can be anybody, right?
It can't be anybody. The problem is there are no prominent Democrats who signed up. Gavin has done a pretty good job of pretty much stopping any Democrat names. There was a lot of talk about Antonio Villaraigosa, the former mayor of Los Angeles, ran for governor very unsuccessfully, raised a lot of money, didn't get a lot of support back in 2018.
Anthony Villar.
And he was, rumored to be trying. Tony Villar, yes, sorry, I used the proper legal name amongst the, when we're doing this officially. But yes, privately, Tony Villar, yes. Gentleman changed his name because he didn't think his name sounded Hispanic enough in Southern California. So, yeah, so you can just figure out the narcissism that goes with that. But no, actually, right now, the leading candidate is Larry Elder, the talk show host, African-American conservative. And it's really interesting because if you look at the Democrats, only 2% of them will consider Larry Elder as a replacement for Gavin Newsom. And you would think in the progressive state of California, they'd be more interested in electing an African-American, but apparently not if they're not somebody that doesn't toe the Democrat Party line. Then you have John Cox. By the way, Larry Elder is about 17%. John Cox is around 10%. And then Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego, is around 10% also. And then you just start getting into the single digit numbers. There's one Democrat who's around, I think, 8%. I believe is a YouTube star, Kevin Paffrath. I don't know anything about haven't seen anything about the guy. He's not a political guy. He's just somebody who's one of the celebrities you'll get in California that run for governor. Caitlyn Jenner is currently filming a Big Brother Australia and will not be back in the state for a couple more weeks, is at about 3% right now.
Interesting. Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All that being said, let's talk about the real elephant in the room. He's fighting for his political life at a time when he looks bad because he pulled his kids out of that super expensive camp because they were not wearing masks. And the second thing is, as the numbers start to grow in California, he's facing this bizarre world of, if I shut things down again, the Democrats are even going to hate me. At the same time, I need to win politically. So how does he walk this tightrope? Because I just don't think there is a way. Because, first of all the stuff he did last year, very little of it was based on science. And this year, I have no idea what he's going to do because I think he thought this was all behind it.
Now, it seems like a lot of his actions, as you said, have been quite reactionary lately. He's trying to solve everything. He's throwing $13 billion to solve homelessness in California. Now, if you look at the latest poll, 77% of the Californians polled give him a fair or a poor rating on his job of handling homelessness, which is why he's come up with this $13 billion, blue ribbon program to end homelessness in California. He's not popular. If you give him the Democrats a choice, yeah, they'd like to keep him, but they're not really that interested in going out and voting for him. And like I said, it's a mail-in election. All they've got to do is open up a piece of mail, put an X by the name of "Don't Recall," and then put it back in the mail. And the question really is going to come down to, are there that many people that are going to do that for Gavin that support him? Or is he simply going to lose by apathy to a very riled up Republican base that has got about 98% of the people want to participate and definitely want to recall Gavin Newsom?
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, Jim, last question before I let you go. Appreciate you coming on. Your gut says?
Too close to call right now. 3 months ago, I would have said they had no choice. When they started this, I said, God bless you. It's great what you're doing to try to recall them. You have zero chance. Right now, I'd say it's about 50-50. It's all going to depend on how much enthusiasm Gavin Newsom can generate amongst Democrats in California.
Yeah, when you keep putting your kids in scoop places where they're not wearing masks and you get caught doing things where you're not wearing masks and yet telling everybody else to do so, that doesn't help you. Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Thanks so much for joining us, Jim. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, Chad. Talk to you later.
So, yeah, like I said, I mean, you look at something like this, but this reverberates across the entire country because why haven't they even looked at recalling some of these people? Why haven't you asked serious questions? There's always these threats. The beauty of our country is we're able to do something like this. We're able to recall if we don't like something. Whether it's California, New York, whether you're in Iowa, it doesn't matter where you're, Florida. And we're also very reactionary. We're very, very reactionary. And I'm interested to see the way this thing plays itself out when it comes to how he approaches the continual rise of the coronavirus, in particular, how he handles the school situation. Because I'll tell you this, if they get to the point where he's allowed to be pushed over and they say, we don't want, we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to go to, only partially there at school, and the other is going to be doing e-learning. If that starts to happen, you watch what happens. It will change fast. And with a few months left, he's going to play this in a much different way than he did last year. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. MyPillow has towels. You can get your towels right now. MyPillow towels. Get your towels. Proprietary technology. Ultra amazing cotton grown out here in the United States of America. Luxurious feel. Non-lotionally. Highly absorbent. Available all kinds of different colors and sizes. Now, with your towel set, normally it's $110. $39.99. 6-piece towel set, 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, washcloth, 2-pack. 60-day money-back guarantee, 1-year limited warranty. They have incredible deals across all of their amazing products. And the beauty of MyPillow is it's all made in America, right? That's the greatness of, yesterday I'm watching Biden talk about, we got to get back to made in America. Buying. This is stuff that's made right here. You will love it. It's grown, it's made. Get your towels, MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or you can call 800-983-4975, 800-983-4975. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
The undisputed queen of gymnastics backed away, citing the extreme pressure on her mental health. Simone Biles' teammates scrambled to adjust. For Sunisa Lee, everything seemed to click. Her top scores on uneven bars and balance beam helped to propel her past 23 competitors to give her the gold medal in the all-around, with silver going to Rebecca Andrade of Brazil and bronze taken by Angelina Melnikova of the Russian Olympic Committee team.
Boom! We still win. What do you think of those Zappos? That is hilarious. We still won. So even though the face of the Olympics, even though the lady that was supposed to be it stepped away, up pops another one. And what do you get? Another gold. What do you think of that, world? I'm still laughing over the fact that the Russians are in the Olympics the way that they are. You just sit there because for those of you guys who don't know, Russia was essentially put on double secret probation because there was state sponsoring of cheating in a massive way. So they put them on super double secret probation. And in doing so, they were going to allow a few competitors in. Because really it was only certain sports that they were spending. But it's never worked out that way. It's just basically they just give them a new name and a new flag. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Speaking of cheating.
What do you think happened in the 2020 election?
Fraud.
What actually happened that it was stolen?
Those machines were hooked up to internet.
So the machines were hooked up to internet, and internet made it so the votes got changed?
I believe so, yeah.
Who'd you get your information from?
Well, there was a thing that they were, I don't even know who, people were passing around, and you would get it.
On internet?
On the internet.
What do you think happened in the 2020?
I like that. That's my favorite thing right there. So wait, hold on a second. Let's go over this again. You're not quite sure, but there was a thing being passed around. Yeah. I'm not sure, but something was being passed around. All right, what was being passed around? Something. Can you elaborate? Something, and I believe it. The audit that is still going on right here, I'm going to tell you guys this. It's been a nightmare for the people of Arizona. There is always something that you turn around and something new going sideways. GOP liaison Ken Bennett, who's the guy that's been overseeing this, he resigned, then unresigned because he was locked out of stuff. So he's the guy that is supposed to be speaking for all of this. He's the former Secretary of State. He didn't really have anything going on. And he said he was in name only the liaison because they locked him out. Because apparently, now, this is the guy that's been the public face of all of this. He had questioned some of the Cyber Ninjas' tactics, wanted a third company to come in and double check their work. In doing so, he also spoke to a few people who he thought was off the record about what the findings have been so far, and that really there was no change between the votes and the ballots. And then they said, "You're done." So they locked him out. I was like, oh, man, they locked him out. Yeah. Let me tell you what this is all about. It's not about Trump winning, right? It's not happening. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change at all. And, for the people out there who, the Cyber Ninjas, well, that's why they hired him, because they wanted to do things different. The Cyber Ninjas, it's been a joke. It has been. It's been an absolute blank show from the beginning. And the other day, you had accusations from the guy that also was a part of this early on, a guy by the name of Yovan and Pulitzer, he's the guy that came up with Cat Q, that thing where you took a cat, you do over the coupon, right? And he was also a treasure hunter, and he came in to sort everything out because he had special machines. He was going to do all this. He said the other day, they've raised almost $9 million for this. Let me tell you what's going to happen. If you come out with something that is ridiculous, you're going to have to back it up in court, right? We're not talking about 1 or 2 votes or 25 votes. Or you come out with something, say it was 400,000 votes that should have been for Trump, and these guys cheated and they did this. You're going to have to prove it in court, and you're going to get sued. It's going to cost a lot of money, and if you get proven wrong, well, that's not a good thing. So what they're going to say is, we didn't get all the information we needed. We couldn't do it properly. This is what we think's happened, but we're unsure about that. And they'll continue to raise money, therefore leaving a grayish area. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
State your name.
I state your name.
do hereby pledge allegiance to the frat.
And what kind of name is just Delta? You sound like a frat that never finished naming itself because everyone passed out from chugging boxed wine.
And you'll never be as big as the original COVID. The OG COVID got Tom Hanks, Dave Chappelle, Ellen DeGeneres. And you'll be lucky if you get to go on tour with Ted Nugent.
Hey Delta, you're the worst spinoff I've ever seen. And I've seen every episode of Joey.
You're not even a unique virus. You're just a variant. You're like the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith. Delta variant? More like Spirit Airlines variant.
Seriously, you can be defeated with just 2 shots? You're like 7 shots weaker than 50 Cent.
You probably liked getting named Delta because your real name is B.1.617.2. What a loser-ass name.
What's my Delta Tau Chi name? Dorfman. From now on, your name is Flounder.
Here we are. Here we are. In the world of Delta. The question is, what's coming? Kevin McCarthy.
But it's just like their philosophy. They want to mandate. They want to impose. They want to tell you when you can go to school, when you can eat. You know what they're going to do? If you walk into this building without a mask, they're going to charge you $500. Why? Because they got the power to do it.
They got the power of the purse. They could come to us at any time and take money away. Right there. You don't want that. Yeah. Pelosi is now, of course, requiring masks back in there. She had something to say about it.
Leader McCarthy says it's against the science.
Is Kevin McCarthy a moron, and if so, why?
I said earlier in my comment, science, 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 and science. Science is the answer. Whether it's the climate crisis, whether it's a health crisis, science, 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 science. To say that wearing a mask is not based on science, I think is not wise. And that was my comment. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Science, science, science. Okay, well, the science says that this thing's not as deadly as first believed. It's about as deadly as the original. Easier to catch. And science also says those of people who are unvaccinated are the ones who are at most risk. So that's good. I like that, right? So we know who to be looking out for. The unvaccinated. Who are they? I don't know. I have no idea who they are. Because they're not like they're carrying around something, right? It's not like they're wearing a big A on their chest or a V for vaccinated or a U for unvaccinated. You know what people want? They don't want politics and science mixed. They don't. They don't want politics and science mixed because all I want is the science. All I want is to be able to talk to people that are making decisions not based on whether or not they're going to be reelected or how much money they can raise off this or what they can control and the power that they can grab. But just, hey, let me tell you something. If you're unvaccinated, even if you get it, there's 99.5% chance you're going to survive this. But you may feel like ass for a couple weeks. But a majority of people, it's kind of like a, butt kicking flu. And you're going to be fine. If you're unhealthy, there's a chance that you could really take a turn for the worse and potentially go to the hospital. And for that 0.5%, there's a chance, more than a good chance that if you got some of this stuff, that you may die. But, and if you're under the age of 25 or 30, but it's particularly if you're the age of 21, the chances are virtually nil that you're going to die. In saying that, though, if 350 million people caught it, you're talking about millions of people that would die. So, let's be smart. Get vaccinated. They're safe. Why did it only take a year when everything else takes 10 years? That's the political side of stuff. Politics got involved. They figured out a way to make money. They created ways for them to make money, a revenue stream. And in doing so, what happened? Red tape, red tape, red tape, red tape. Translation, hurdle, hurdle, hurdle. And to jump the hurdle, you have to give me money. Over a period of time, it takes to get from point A to point B. Here, they just went to Z. It's safe. There you go. And then let people make their decision. We can't do that, though. It's not what we're about. That's not. What it is politicians look at every tragedy, every pandemic, epidemic, endemic. They look at every single thing and they think, what can I do with this that will help me? What's the science say? Science says it's 99.5% or so of people. Yeah, but that's a big still difference between the flu and stuff. And you know what? We should all get involved in this. And then they get involved in what happens. They move everything out of the way. You ever watch? I mean, has nobody ever watched a movie? Like, right? Guys find this giant spaceship, right? What happens? Military and politics move in and they kick those people out and they start doing stuff. You don't know what's going on. That's the frustration that people have. That's the frustration. Why did it only take a year? I always tell everybody, you should be less pissed about why it took a year and less scared. And you should be more pissed of why it takes 10 years or 7 years to get medicines to the market. Those are questions you should be asking. But we don't. One of the other questions is, will we need a booster?
Would you get a third? I mean, should people get a third shot?
I'm not running out and getting a third shot right now because, as we've been saying, the vaccines work really well. If you start to see that the vaccine effectiveness is truly waning, maybe, as you said, maybe there's some evidence, but, people who get the vaccine do not get severely ill. 2 to 3% perhaps. You have really good protection. I don't know that boosting up, 5-fold or 10-fold the antibodies against something that already works really well makes a big difference.
Yeah. At this moment, now, I know that Israel is asking for a booster, and it's always about Pfizer. I don't hear much about Moderna. Moderna's not, I got Moderna, a little bit more expensive. I went top shelf. And the place I went, that's all they had. That was also the other side of it. But it's do we need it? Don't we need it? One of the other things is we still don't even know how long actual natural immunity lasts.
But at some point, if it's clear that the immunity is waning, then sure, that might be an option. I will point out that people who got natural immunity from SARS, I'm talking back in 2003, Anderson, you fast forward to 2020, 17 years later, and they still had evidence of immunity. So immunity can last a long time.
Yeah, absolutely it can. We'll see. We'll see. I've been vaccinated and I've had it. Is what it is. Not worried about whether anything's going to happen to me. I'm not worried about any of those things. I'm taking it as I looked at the science. I have friends who are doctors and scientists, and I have a couple friends who, fortunate enough, oddly enough, thought, well, I'll never ask you about any of this stuff. And I got a nice, for years, I've got a good back-end view of how Big Pharma works and what a lot of it's about. So for those of you guys who don't know, Big Pharma is also in the business of making money. And, whether that's what they're into, right? Because you got to make money to put stuff out. Yeah, they want to heal people. Yeah, they want to keep, but they're also into making money. And one of the big things they do, it's all about your patents. It's all about patents. So they patent hunt. So your patent comes up, right? Say it's a drug for hair loss, a drug for whatever. It gets close to being an end. What they're doing is they start testing it on other things. And then the goal is to find something it can work for so they can extend the patent. Maybe it's about hair loss, but they found out that, hey, this works great with psoriasis. This works great with ADHD. So a lot of that is what those games are about. So when you ask about science, I always tell everybody this. Politicians, and find out who's writing their checks. That's where you find out where the science is coming from. Off the record, they'll tell you one thing. On the record, a lot of times, they'll tell you something completely different because somebody's writing them a check. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of money,
the U.S. economy grew in the second quarter at a rate of
Money.
6.5%, a strong pace and a sign the economy is shaking off the worst of the pandemic, but it wasn't as strong as the 8.4% economists had been expecting. And there are concerns the eruption of the Delta variant could curtail growth in the second half of the year. The economy has come far from its collapse in the second quarter of 2020, but parts of it, like the labor market, have struggled. Another 400,000 people filed new claims last week for unemployment benefits.
not all of it's because they're afraid to go back to work. Some of them is they just don't want to go back to work. For others, especially in situations where they work in the food industry, they're not needed in some areas because there just isn't the call for it, because they're running a skeleton crew, so they don't need one more person. In other parts, it's the money situation. They feel they need to make more money. Some of it is a little bit of fear. And for some people, they're taking a little time off, and they're realizing right now it's an employee marketplace rather than an employer marketplace. So for them to take some time off to find the best opportunity for themselves, they're taking advantage of it. Things are cyclical. Eventually, it'll flip around. It'll be an employer's marketplace. But right now, the employees have the upper hand when it comes to being able to go in, especially now. If you go in early, you're going to have more of a say on the hours you get, more of the say on things where you can go, you know what, I want to work out of the house a couple days a week. I want to be able to have every other Friday. Certain things like that. There's opportunities there. So strike while the iron's hot. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Give it to my dog every single day. So my dogs are little, and I only give them Rough Greens by the teaspoon, 1 teaspoon. Bigger dogs, you give them 2 teaspoons. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff. It brings their food to life, and it has really changed my dog's, especially my older one, Doodle, his life. It has helped him with his hips. It has helped him with his fur. It has helped him in so many ways, and it is incredible to see the difference from where he was a little over a year and a half ago. Try it before you buy it. Go to ruffgreens.com/Chad. When you do, they're going to send you a bag for free. All you do is cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Wanna be, boys? Give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers. One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Sad. Ratings down. Face of the Olympics. It's going to be Simone Biles. Obviously, she bowed out. But in saying that, another youngster appeared. Another youngster stepped up. Another one for the women's gymnastic team who assumed the throne and said, I got it.
When the undisputed queen of gymnastics backed away, citing the extreme pressure on her mental health, Simone Biles' teammates scrambled to adjust. For Sunisa Lee, everything seemed to click. Her top scores on uneven bars and balance beam helped to propel her past 23 competitors to give her the gold medal in the all-around, with silver going to Rebecca Andrade of Brazil and bronze taken by Angelina Melnikova of the Russian Olympic Committee team.
Won gold again. Scoreboard. We won gold again. That's right. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at the medals count. I'm sitting here laughing, though. I'm watching. If you guys have never seen handball, so they have team handball. And I know what you're thinking. When you're younger, you're like, I used to play handball, right? Like where you hit the ball against the wall. And then, for those of you who maybe have seen movies where people are in prison, they have that kind of handball. This is a different handball. It's a different handball. This handball is carrying around like a little ball that's smaller than, I would say, like a volleyball, smaller than that. And it's played on a basketball court length thing. And they've got like what looks like a 3-point shot. And then they've got like a crease, like a hockey crease. And it's just, you take the ball and you bounce it and you throw it in the net. There's soccer net. It's just bizarre. And I'm like, why do we not dominate the sport? Could you imagine like you could probably show our NBA players this for like 2 hours, have them go out and practice, and then like, all right, let's go. Let's go win the gold. We have 38 medals, up by 7 over China, and we're beating ROC, which is the pretend punishment of the Russian Olympic Committee. We're like, you guys can't cheat anymore. Like, all right, we won't cheat no more. And then they're like, but of course, we still want to participate. But you can't. No, but you could not tell us we can't. That's not fair. All right, well, how about you guys participate, but under a fake name? Way to punish them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Talk a little gender. Oh, we found a new product that's going to help you with that, too, especially if you're not quite sure what's going on. Should worry about that. Plus, immigration. The White House is laying out its goals on the old immigration. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That there be your Twitter. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Biden administration is laying out principles it says will guide its efforts to establish a, quote, fair, orderly, and humane immigration system. President Biden tapped Vice President Harris to be in charge with addressing the root causes of migration from Central America. The new game plan includes 5 key pillars, including addressing economic insecurity and inequality, combating corruption, promoting human rights, stopping criminal gangs and traffickers, and addressing sexual, gender-based, and domestic violence. The administration is short on specifics, not providing much detail on how it will hit those goals. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Karen, they're not. Let's just be real. Some of that stuff, you listen to her talk about this, some of that stuff is just ridiculous. We've got insecurities here. Why do we have to worry about insecurities there? Oh, yeah, because it's frustrating. We know why they're coming here. We're the land of opportunity. We're the land of freedom. We've got the land of better stuff. We get it. We're blessed, every one of us. To the person that can't stand our country, you're blessed. Remember all those people, I'm going to leave. I don't like Trump. I'm leaving. I'm going to a different, I don't like America. It's evil and bad and racist. I'm going to go to a place where everybody loves and it's great and it's amazing. Where are you going to go? First of all, where are they going to go that they want you? Well, I'm going to go to Switzerland. I'm like, oh, super diverse. Like, couldn't get more diverse. How are you going to pay for it? You rolling deep? Are you like Tina Turner? She like moved there because her husband was a big commodity broker and finance guy, and she had major hits and all this money, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to bring. No. We know the issues. People want to come here. We know the issues of which they want to come here and escape from. But we also have laws. We want to be humane and we want to be fair, but we don't want to be stupid. There's a difference between being kind and understanding and being a doormat. Do I think the Biden administration is going to do anything different than they have in the past? No. It's not stopping, though. And Biden has rung the bell for people who want to come here and feel like they don't really have anything to fear. Because the thought process is, I heard you say you're going to give people a pathway to citizenship. So why would I not take a chance? The last guy didn't even want to let me in the country. You're trying to, open up the door, roll down a mat, come on in. And the sad thing is people are coming here because they think there's all these amazing opportunities. And politically, they're just a football. And it's frustrating. And it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden or anybody else. The reality is there is no money in solving this problem. The Democrats feel like if we can get everybody, and we could be the team that does it, that gets everybody in America from other countries and gets them citizenship, we have now a situation where we can get 5, 10, 15, 20 million new voters put in the right places. Look at this. The Republicans are like, hold on a second. I thought we had an agreement here. We turned a blind eye and you guys could play this game, and we turn, you guys turned a blind eye to us, and we can let our people donors who throw money at us get cheap labor. Thought we had an agreement. Well, the new Democratic Party doesn't want to play that game. And the sad thing is nothing is going to change. Nothing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Gender is an interesting thing, right? Because we've now made gender everything. Like, gender is the thing that matters. Like it's what do you look like? Who do you love? What group are you in that you could be special? Are you in this group? Are you in that group? How do we break it out? Everybody's transgender. It's interesting. So you go from there to, first of all, let's understand there's a lot of stuff out there, right? There's a lot of stuff out there. Few little things. All right, here we go. Here's some new things. Microgendering.
Let's talk about QPO-sexuals and QPO-romantics. This is one of my most requested micro labels, so I know a bunch of y'all gonna relate. QPO means to desire or long for. QPO-sexuals are people who experience little to no sexual attraction, but still have a desire for a sexual relationship. They are usually sex favorable, but not always. Sometimes they simply fancy the idea of a sexual relationship, but don't have the intention of actually pursuing one.
Okay. So there's that. QPO. Sexuals. So we're not done, guys. We're not done. This is what I used to say. And this is why Trump.
The aromantic counterpart is a QPO romantic who experiences little to no romantic attraction, but still has a desire for a romantic relationship or an appreciation for romance. Perhaps they enjoy cuddles and long walks on the beach, but have no idea who the heck they'd like to do that with. I'm sure these identities can be a little confusing and isolating at times, but I know there's more than one of you out there. QPO sexuals and QPO romantics.
So you've got QPOs in the micro world now, right? There's a lot of other stuff that goes on.
I describe myself as agender because internally when I think of me, I don't associate me with any gender. I am specifically no thank you to gender. But when I think inside and I introspect about what I want from gender, powerful, intimidating, biblically accurate angel. I don't really feel gender euphoria at all. I just don't want it. Gender isn't a part of my identity. Gender is a tool that I use to get what I want.
Oh, that's what it is. Gender is a tool to get what you want. That used to be called, I'm using my sex appeal, baby. What are you doing, man? I'm using my sex appeal, right? I'm rocking what I got. And when you do that, what do you usually do, especially if you've got a little bit of looks, right? Well, you're going to get a little bit more than other people. You're going to get just a smidge more. So that's, again, it's all about gender, right? It's all about the identities, the whole 9 yards. It's about identities.
Ace flux. So ace flux is your person. They're going to fluctuate between asexuality and allosexual. So like one day they could be like fully asexual and then the next they could totally change. He is going to fluctuate on a daily basis. One day they could have crushes on somebody. One day they could be sexually attracted to somebody in some form or degree. And the next day they could be completely just not interested, not wanting anything to do with. I think that's really interesting. That's very cool, and I love learning about these things.
Yeah. Some guy teach you that? I'm afflux sexual. What's that mean? Like one day I really want to have sex with you, and the next day I never want to talk to you again. Oh, yeah. You're hit it and quit it sexual. You're tap and tap out. I've heard of you. I like learning these things. You do? Yeah. Well, how about that? You just learned something new. My Lord. Oh, my goodness. We're not done.
Hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a f***ing problem. And if I catch your bitch ass being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were. Thank you for coming, and have a nice day.
Flipping around last night, so I was in my hotel, and the South Park was on, and it was about gender, and it was the strongest woman competition. They have PC Principal and his wife or partner, whatever it was, and they have PC babies, and she's excited because they're like, hey, this is the first time that you guys are be treating about, competing against the transgender comp. Oh, that's great. I welcome all people, and this is awesome. He said, the lady says, he goes, so, how do you feel about transgender males competing in women? She goes, oh, I don't like to get into labels, and how dare you say something like that? And he goes, have you ever met who you're competing against? And it was Randy Macho Man Savage. He goes, yeah, I've been a transgender woman for 2 weeks now. He just crushed everybody. Chad, shouldn't laugh about that. No, I think it's the insanity of some of this stuff, right? Isn't it? Like everybody, but it's, again, I don't care who you are and what you are. I respect that. I respect everybody. You do your thing. You do you. You do your thing. As long as you're not hurting somebody else. My issue has always been, right, everybody wants a label, but then labels are bad. Everybody wants a label, but then labels are bad. And then, of course, the whole gender thing can be confusing. What if you're a little bit older? What if you're struggling? Right? You guys know what Nugenics is? Remember that? Well, we found another product. Yeah, new gender.
After I reached 40, it wasn't easy to keep up. Everything changed. My energy, my drive, my testosterone levels hit the skids. Then I found New Gender. New Gender is a unique gender-boosting formula powered by Gender Bomb. A patented secret formula guaranteed to boost your gender superpowers in ways you never thought possible. Just pop 2 pills a day and get ready for infinite gender variety. Now you can take on that female Olympic shot putter with the bushy mustache. Or hell, you can even take on your entire girls' volleyball team. With New Gender, you can change your gender every day. Bring on Trans Monday, Butch Tuesday, Pansexual Wednesday, whenever, wherever. Be agender, two-spirit, or just plain old gender fluid. New Gender's for that fresh gender bender feeling you thought you'd left behind in high school.
New Gender side effects including but are not limited to bloating, belching, farting, bitching, catfighting, sashaying, talking to the hand, or in extreme cases, saggy man boobs.
323-538-2423. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Couple deaths yesterday, leaving us a little bit emptier inside, but they left their history and their mark on this world. We'll touch on that. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Yesterday, we lost 2 stars to this world. One of them made you smile and made you think. That's right, Dusty Hill, the venerable ZZ Top bassist with his long beard. 50 years with the band, died at age 72, peacefully in his home. I don't know if he'd been sick for a while, but by the sounds of it, they'd already found a replacement for him. And apparently, this may have been something that had been coming for a while. He'd struggled with some health problems in the early 2000s where they had to cancel a tour. But he passed away yesterday at age 72. They were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the early 2000s, ZZ Top. And, of course, they gave you all kinds of fun. Oh, man, a little tush. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was great. And, of course, maybe their biggest hit, Outside of Legs. I used to love that. They'd spin their guitars and their bass, and it was just awesome. Little fun fact about ZZ Top, the drummer, who has no beard, is named Beard. Silly, yes, I know. Stupid, yes, I know. But always makes me laugh. Then, yesterday, the sadness came. It flooded in from Anthony and Phil that the man who before the internet, before infomercials, before Amazon, had passed away.
It's the fishing invention of the century. There's never been anything like it. Popeil's Pocket Fisherman.
Wouldn't it be nice to drink a hot cup of coffee on the way to work each morning? But you can't, because ordinary cups spill. Introducing Auto Cup by Ronco. Always keep your button ear handy. And when your button pops off, pop it on with button ear. The cookie machine also makes beautiful candy super fast.
Turn of the dial. You can julienne carrots or julienne Swiss cheese for delicious salads.
Yes, it's fishing fun for the whole family, and only $19.95. What a gift.
He coined the phrase, but wait, there's more. Ron Popeil passed away. And, of course, my favorite thing, as a child, late-ish 70s, I saw the commercial and said, I have to have one. I have to have one.
Hey, this Christmas party is getting a little too quiet. I think it's time we liven it up with my favorite Christmas gift, Mr. Microphone.
Hey, what's that?
Well, you set the dial on your FM radio and testing.
Now, I don't know about you, Phil. Did you ever have a Mr. Microphone?
I did have a Mr. Microphone.
Yeah, and you had to put it on FM because AM rocked. I had it. It was the greatest thing ever. I thought I was a DJ, and it was awesome. I played around with it, and I loved it. We're just getting started.
These kids are having a fabulous time with Mr. Microphone, the cordless microphone that actually puts your voice on the radio. There are no attaching wires, so you're free to move around.
And here comes the favorite part of the commercial. As the guys in the Mercedes who are creeping along see a girl in tight shorts.
Broadcast over any FM car radio.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Ah, good. Good old-fashioned sexism. But we're having fun. I love that. I loved Mr. Microphone. I had a Mr. Microphone and a Pocket Fisherman. I begged my family from birth to give me a Pocket Fisherman. And they got it for me, and I absolutely loved it. And I caught fish with it, and it was neat. It was great. And what was the other thing? Was it the egg scrambler?
Yeah, inside the eggshell egg scrambler.
Just the greatest. But long before all the stuff that you see nowadays, long before Billy Mays, My Pillows, Mike Lindell, long before there was the ShamWow guy, Vince. Hey, it's me, Vince from ShamWow. Maybe I did math, maybe I did. You don't know. I'm kidding, Vince. Long before any of them, right? Long before any of those guys, there was Ron Popeil. R.I.P. Ron. R.I.P. As seen on TV. He's in heaven right now. It's got an as seen on TV thing. As seen on TV. Jesus, brother. Hey, can I ask you a question? I got this thing. And what is it? It's a Flovey. It didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I am off tomorrow and Monday. Buddy, I think Craig Collins is going to be filling in for us. You guys have an amazing, incredible weekend. Watch some of the Olympics or don't. But the good news is, even though we didn't have Simone Biles, we still won the gold in gymnastics. What do you think of that, fake Russian team? You guys have a great one. We'll do it again next week. Be nice to Craig. As always, to each and every one of you. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.